Right, Forest fans, Max Newton here, giving you a review of the season on Talk Forest TV. Hit that like, comment and subscribe button. What a season it's been. What an absolute ride. One of those where you just say, just enjoy the ride, enjoy dreaming, enjoy the wins, enjoy the moments. And, there's plenty of that going on. Obviously, at the start of the season, all the pundits predicted us for relegation, which I don't think any Forest fan seriously thought we would get relegated. I think we were quite puzzled that all the pundits seemed to be predicting us to be relegated. And I think what we hoped for was mid-table, the Palace position, mid-table, never really worried about relegation. Maybe flirting with the outskirts of Europe, but probably not getting there. But having more wins than the season before, not getting screwed by the Premier League, not getting screwed by referees and VAR, and probably being a relatively quiet season with steady progress. What we got was absolutely outstanding season. We doubled our points tally, landmark victories at Liverpool, home and away against Manchester United, double over Spurs, home against Manchester City, 7-0 home win. Our striker scoring 20 goals. Forest players in Team of the Week every single week. 6 games undefeated. Beating Brighton 7-0. Goalkeeper winning the Golden Glove. Just a phenomenal season. Dreaming. Winning those 6 games in a row around Christmas time and into the new year, and absolutely dreaming. And I'd rather have a season where we dream and come up short at the end than never dreaming at all. Fantastic season, absolutely brilliant. Just lots of games where we were brilliant and we won, where we sort of defied the way of playing Premier League football, where we were the team that everybody was talking about. Everybody was talking about Forest. We were the story of the season because the title was sewn up so early. Relegation was decided so early. The good news story of the season, despite Newcastle, despite Villa, was Nottingham Forest. A few of the teams flirted with it, like Bournemouth and Brentford, but Forest, saw it out. And everybody wanted Forest to win. Everybody wanted Forest to do it, which again was a change on recent seasons. And it looked like we were going to get through the whole season without any controversy or Forest madness, but we had the Marinakis spitting incident, and we had Gary Neville getting banned, which was hilarious after Marinakis coming onto the pitch. But even that, pundits seem to be on our side. Happy days, European football, absolutely magnificent. Delighted. I think we started the season okay. Our home form was a bit of a worry first 3 or 4 games, and our away form was good. But we only snuck an away win away at Southampton. But we had a few draws at home. But then that win away at Liverpool, as I say, absolute landmark win, and made people sit up and go, "Oh, well, hang on, this is a different way of playing football." And then we just were up and running, and confidence was flowing. And like I say, it culminated in that 6-game winning run, 6 games winning on back to back in the Premier League. Incredible. Some fantastic games, there's a bit of a debate I see about, we didn't strengthen in January, and that maybe cost us Champions League football. But January is a difficult market to buy players in, especially in the positions where we needed to strengthen, which was up front, centre forward, attacking midfield players, where you're paying, well, there's not as many available, you're paying over the odds, and we sort of have to be going, we're banking everything on getting Champions League football by paying 50-60 million pounds on a proven striker, or we're buying somebody unproven. And if we don't get it, we're probably screwed for PSR. So I think it was a sensible move not to spend big in January, because we're way ahead of where we're expecting to be in terms of the development of the club. And see where the season takes us and where it ends up. And I think at the end we just ran out of steam a little bit. We picked up a few injuries, little bit of players out of form. But let's not also forget the other teams around us put together, sensational winning runs, and we've got into third place by actually some of those teams putting together mediocre runs and dropping points, and we were picking up points when they dropped them. There's weekends where we're looking at it, again, the trend navigation before the game, saying, if results go our way, we could be third today. Anthony Chester McCabe gets no chance of that happening. That means Man City losing and Villa losing and somebody else losing. I'll buy everybody a drink if we're third. And that all happened, and we were third. Whereas later on in the season, those teams just kicked into gear and won games, didn't they? So I think it was gutting not to make Champions League, not to make Europa League at the end. It's that run of 1 point from 3 home games that killed us. You'd look at and say was winnable home games against Everton, Brentford, and Leicester. And you've got to think we've got to be picking up a minimum of 4 points from those, and that would have seen us win Champions League football. So that tinge of disappointment at the end, but absolutely incredible season. Loved every minute of it. The bond between fans and players and manager has gone to the next level. Tifos from Forza Garibaldi were brilliant. Tons of off-field stuff from Forest, brilliant. Nuno just turns out to be an absolute superhuman. Not only for his tactics, but for things like getting all the staff together for Manager of the Month, or all the staff and loads of fans together to receive Manager of the Month, or the stuff with Warriors FC, and he still does. I love Forest. I love Forest. Brilliant. Shout out to Forza Garibaldi. I've got a few categories to talk about as the dog starts barking. Player of the season. A load of players could be player of the season. Looking at Matt Sells, wins the Golden Glove and not player of the season. Chris Wood scores 20 goals, not player of the season. Morgan Gibbs-White, turns himself into £100 million player, not player of the season. I think Ola Aina could have been at one point. Murillo obviously gets a shout, but I think the fans' choice of player of the season of Nikola Milenkovic is a really good choice of player of the season, because he absolutely fixed our set piece problem. Defending set pieces, we went from the worst to one of the best, and attacking set pieces went from one of the worst to one of the best. And he also brought Murillo along superbly. Sort of did for Murillo what Dawson did for Wes Morgan. What Des Walker did. What an experienced, quality older player did for a superb young central defender. So Milenkovic, great. I think also shout out to Elanga, but I think Elanga actually had a not great start to the season until he scored that goal against Villa. Most improved player, probably go between Matt Sells, who turned himself into an elite goalkeeper, winning the Golden Glove, and Nico Williams. I think Nico Williams looked like he lost his place to Marino on loan from Villa at the start of the season. Marino had a brilliant game against Liverpool, but Nico fought back into the side and really owned that left back, where he's playing really out of position at left full back and left wing back. And even when he was coming on as late sub, he was often on for the last 15 minutes, and he's made the most tackles and most clearances than any player in the game. Best home game, it's hard to look past beating Brighton 7-0, but I think also up there is the turnaround against Aston Villa, but also beating Manchester United at home with a wonder goal from Anthony Elanga, beating Man City at home, absolutely superb. Best away game, I think it's a choice between Manchester United, Liverpool, and Everton, and because it was the one that I was at, Everton away, fantastic atmosphere, brilliant ground, brilliant performance, great goals. Best away fans visiting Forest, probably Newcastle, Manchester United. Manchester United away fans just make a lot of noise. Best goal, I think it's either Alanga against Manchester United, Chris Wood away at Everton, Ola Aina at home to West Ham. And I think I'm going to give it to Ola Aina at home to West Ham because sitting lower Trent End were right behind that as he slammed it in. Other things to mention, I say the Tifos, superb. The stuff with Warriors and the Forest stuff in the community, brilliant. Big shout out to Harry Toffolo for the stuff he's doing in the community. Ground staying at Forest, brilliant. And the women's football team, fantastic. Won promotion to the next tier, won the cup. So yeah, what we hope now is that we keep as many of our top players as possible. If we do have to sell somebody, looks like maybe Morgan Gibbs White, we get top dollar and we invest in some quality players to take us to the next level. What a season. Thanks for watching. Come on, you Reds.